Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Empire Total War with the Imperial Destroyer mod. Last time around we were able to secure Prussia, both the east and the west. Now we are at the launching pad to complete my Swedish Imperial dream of creating the Baltic as an inner sea, if you get that. So completely controlled, kind of in a way like a smaller dream compared to, say, the Roman Empire when they controlled the Mediterranean. But we controlled the Baltic. Right, so we've got the Prussians right here. It's taken me quite a while, I have to say, to actually come to a good position to start off this sort of... I don't know how many, it's probably going to take maybe one or possibly two, actually, episodes to completely destroy the Prussians. Because there's quite a lot of them. I did kind of recklessly, before getting to the position that we are in now, actually throw my forces forwards, and I got into a huge battle where the enemy I had an army of 13,000 men, split off into three armies. Basically the King's army, and then two smaller reinforcement armies to reinforce the bigger one. So I had 13,000, the enemy, the Prussians, 31,000. The problem, however, with that battle was the fact that it crashed. So that was not very fun, and I tried to make it work by playing out the battle 3 times. Each time the battle, of course, dragging out for an hour. So I spent 3 hours trying to get that battle to work, but each time it crashed or it didn't work, which is very unfortunate because I like the battle. So maybe I'll add on one of those as sort of a bonus in the end of this campaign, as sort of the battle that never was kind of thing, as a bonus episode. With that said, I think I have a better chance this time around, and we're gonna try not to drag in 31,000 troops. If that happens, my plan beforehand, one thing that I didn't actually plan, or one thing that I didn't try out when I did these 3 battles, was actually reduce the time limit. I sort of increased the time limit. I started off with a base of 60 minutes, and then I put it at unlimited, but I think it sort of crashed around an hour. I managed to, at one point, I thought, you know what, all I need to do is defeat the first army. Then I can just press exit and leave the battle, because in the battle it was they that intercepted me and not me attacking them. So it would have been on them to defeat me, not the other way around. And I thought that was going to work, but it didn't. But it kind of showed me that within an hour I was able to kill about 16,000 Prussians. But as I pressed escape, it actually put me as the loser of the battle, and I had to pay for it with most of the army losing about 10,000 men, leaving only 3,000 left, which wasn't really going to work. So in this case, hopefully, we'll have limited battles and in stages destroy the Prussians. And the first part of this will be to attack these guys. So we can see the reinforcement limit, and I think it's not actually covering the city or these guys down here. So it should be safe, unless I'm not entirely sure if this mod actually increases this circle. So we'll see. My plan is then to take the secondary army. Here's the King's army, you see right here. It's been a little bit changed because, I mean, it took me to the very end of the campaign to really realize how much more beneficial it would be to switch out the sort of normal straight bore barreled cannons for some other unit really that would be able to make more damage, because most of the battles they didn't really do that much. I managed to get that sort of flanking fire on forts, where the cannons actually were able to do a bit better. I have replaced in some armies those cannons to the 24-pounder cannon, so twice the size of the cannonball or twice the weight of the cannonball. So maybe that is possibly inflicting more damage, but we'll see. So we got the King's army and a reinforcement army to bring up behind him to support him, and he's gonna go through here while this one is gonna go through here. And my idea is for this one to take out this army, and then hopefully we don't have to deal with too much down here. We kind of have quite a lot of troops and stuff down here, but I will be able to sort of contain the enemy a lot better. But that's just my plan. Off in the east, this hasn't really happened that much. During my preparation time, the Ottomans have kind of at times gone ahead and declared war on me, but mostly I was breaking their armies and sending them back each time. Looking at sort of the world, we still have the fighting between England and Spain. They're moving back and forth in this region down here, and then in North America, I actually saw that the English did land an army on Hispaniola, but otherwise you can see that the Spanish have actually retaken large part of this area and then pushed through all the way up and actually taken some of the native lands and stuff like that. And I've seen Spanish armies around here, so they are pushing up through here. And also, which I didn't actually notice, that the Spanish have gone ahead and attacked, and they've taken Boston and Maine. And then the French have actually taken Albany, New York. So this could kind of be a high time for me to join in my allies, which are the French and the Spanish, to actually join them in the war here in North America and take some land from the English. But I want to defeat the Prussians first, and that sort of will end the campaign. King George I. There was a Queen Anne at some point, but I guess she died really quickly. So at this point, the English are allied with the Hanoverians, the Prussians, Savoy, Russia, and Austria. So all of these would declare war on me if I declared war on Britain. Austria, I don't think that would be too much. Hanover, however, because they have a lot of troops, even though they're sort of single nation. Savoy, not at all. Russia, of course, would be kind of a problem, but I think I could beat them. I think it would be the Austrians and the Hanoverians that would be trouble, because they stand in a position to... Well, they have bloody pikemen, which is kind of strange. But they have pretty good armies, the Hanoverians. They did beat the French army, so it would be interesting to see if I could beat these guys. The upside to fighting the Hanoverians is, of course, I could snipe them out by moving in, attacking the capital, and taking that, and sort of avoid massive bloodshed by taking on the other armies. The Austrians would be a little bit different. I mean, I could take this one pretty rapidly, but then I don't know what they have at the capital. I would probably be joined by the French, so they could help me. Also, because the Ottomans have been attacking me so much, and I've actually turned the Polish almost completely into Protestantism. They're 80%, a lot of them. I decided to, since the Ottomans continuously decided to go ahead and declare war and try to attack me, I decided to go ahead and send my priests down here and cause trouble within their lands. So we'll be causing a bit of trouble here for them. So we're already starting to increase the Protestantism in the region. I mean, imagine the sort of the problems in this region. 65% Muslim, 16 Catholic, 13 Protestant, and 4 Orthodox. There's a lot of religions and a lot of trouble. Like the sort of this region didn't have problems to begin with. We increase more religions and whatnot. Anyways, with all that said, it's time to go against the enemy. Oh yes, one more thing. Is for the King's army, since I said I'll remove the cannons, I've also removed the heavy cavalry that I sent in, and instead I've switched them out for 4 regiments of Royal Heavy Cavalry Life Guard units. So that's what we have. And in the reinforcement army, I've actually gone ahead and selected to put in the Horse Jaegers. So got 50 accuracy. So they're pretty good. And also look at that range, 135. So they can outrange the line infantry, which is one of those annoying things that the enemy usually did to me. And yes, technology-wise, we're doing light infantry doctrines, but I don't think I'm gonna. That's not gonna probably 21 turns. I probably have ended the series then by controlling all of the Baltic Sea. But with all this said, it's time to try and go ahead and defeat the enemy. So hopefully we'll not drag in a Prussian army of 31,000. In case that happens, it doesn't matter that much because I can lose this one. If I am able to still take 16,000 out of that 31,000 man army, it wouldn't matter that much if I lost all of these guys, or if I lost a big part of this, because I would have this one to back it up, or come in and then take the other 16.5, which I would able to kill off. So it wouldn't be that problematic if the this first battle actually turns out a loss for me. So we're gonna start off by marching in and see if they intercept me, and they do. And yes, we don't have really the same kind of pressure as I did last time I attacked. We only have 20,000 enemies to deal with. We don't have that would be an extra 10,000 to this. But it's still a pretty strong army. And I really do hate the Dragoons. I don't know why they've given Dragoons 130 accuracy, or range, I mean. So it's outrange the line infantry. Because that means that oftentimes what happens in battles is they just ride up in front of my units and able to shoot them with such high accuracy at such long range, and just continue to punishing my units, which is kind of annoying. Dragoons should be moved off into the flank, so they should either have the same kind of range or lower, because they would have a carbine with a shorter barrel, so they would have maybe a short range, or they would move closer, same to what, say, the Hussars have. So I don't really understand why they gone ahead and done that. We don't have the super elite units in this army, so I guess that's part of... Well, yes, we do have. We have the Grenadier Guards. The Potsdam Grenadiers, possibly, or it says the Prussian Giant Grenadiers, which should be the Potsdam Grenadiers, but I don't think they were actually used in battle ever. We also have the Dragoons of Frederick the Great, which I believe there's 2 different kinds of Dragoons of Frederick the Great, one of which has red facing, and then there's one with black facing. Actually quite a few regiments of Frederick the Great. Any other special unit? Well, we have the Von Sears, Fusiliers Von Sears. Don't seem that special in their stats, so it's just like a little bit of a special unit. And yeah, that's about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and conduct this battle. And this one will probably rage on for an hour. And next episode will be the last one, where I've finalized the defeat of the Prussian nation, and I've created my Baltic Empire. With that said, let's go straight into battle. And out of the fog the Swedish would march. Well, exactly. Well, to be precise, it's the Prussians attacking me, since they intercepted me. But fighting in the fog has not proven... well, it's sort of reminiscent, I guess. Fighting in Germany in the fog would be reminiscent of the Battle of Lützen, where Gustav Adolphus died. So that's possibly a problem here, an ominous problem for us. But I think we'll be better prepared. So this army doesn't have really that much special units and stuff. We have a grenadier unit, the 10th Grenadiers, and I've put them as a unit to protect the cannons, and then I've put the line all across my deployment zone with 3 units as reserve, and then we've got heavy cavalry, 3 units behind to support in case that we need them, and then the general behind there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start off the battle. So the Prussians, I mean, they spawned quite... Oh, look at this. Artillery? No! Ah, no! Look at that. Would have been able to... Imagine having cannon shots roaring through this. Blast. There's kind of a sort of a sloped hill here where it slopes to both sides. So I'm not entirely sure. One thing we do want to do is start to march here and take up as much of this forested area as possible. And then these 3 units will be standing in the open. Possibly not doing so well for them. Then these 2 will be dragged along here. Next one here will come to there. And then you will be dragged along kind of there. But that's a bit too much. I think we just take 2 and drag towards the edge there. And then the last one will be on the high hill protecting the flank. Have I put... Yes, I have 2 units here overlapping each other. Then I will remove you. Yes, you will be... You know what? You will be reserve in the forest. And then we have these 3 will move up to be reserves there as well. Ah! I actually removed one of the units that were going into the forest, so that's... Or one going into the open, so that's what happened there. And then these 2 will go and be reserves in the forest, and we've got fire going off right now. The 98th Infantry is firing, and then the 74th is opening fire from within the forest. Should be in our favor since we're in the forest, but there's more enemy regiments on this side firing against us. But the forest should cover us pretty well. We need to gain a bit ground here on this one. And then we have massive amount of cavalry going in on this side, which we don't like, so time to open up with the artillery. And the grenadiers will take position to the right of the artillery. And then 2 heavy cavalry units will prepare on this side, 1 will prepare on this side coming through the forest. My cannons are blowing through the dragoons, and it looks like the enemy cavalry is kind of withdrawing, and the regiment has only suffered about 40 casualties and is still holding, but they're being outflanked by a regiment of infantry. There's more charges across the line, but most of the dragoon attacks here seem to be failing. They're not even able to even break up the line, and all the cavalry is falling back. These Prussians have ended up in a very wonky position, getting absolutely slaughtered by my fire. We've got another cavalry charge. This is not able to even go through the bloody forest, and is absolutely murdered on the field of battle. Most cavalry is breaking apart, but we really need support on this side. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna charge this one and fix him in place. Hold your fire, and then move forward, and together these two will break the enemy. And then these two heavy cavalry units will move in to support these two units. With that, I'm gonna have to hold fire with the artillery, and then we'll have two chargers going in here as these guys will form square, protect themselves. That would open up two lines of attack on either side of this unit where my cavalry can move in. So my heavy cavalry has struck this unit, and the grenadiers will now come to this side, and they will open fire on the enemy. And with the lines now open on the sides, the heavy cavalry will be able to charge on either side of the square, avoiding charging into my men and killing any of them, but being able to completely overrun the two Prussian units that are on attack here. I just lost the 87th that's pulling back, but that was just in time for... oh, these guys broke. I guess I took a bit of them. I managed to kill off a few of my own men there in the charge, but the grenadiers coming in from the flank with the enemy with my troops breaking on this side. And oh, you know what? We're actually being broken on this side as well. Reserves open fire, and we will retire on this side. So this now is the furthest flank. So we'll redraw the line like that, and we will have these two reinforcement units moving out on the field here. You will continue to charge, then I will redirect you to swing into the back of these units. And that will hopefully send these Prussians off. The forest, however, I haven't been able to focus here. Oh, look at that. The Prussian reinforcements is coming in from the flanks. It was just as well, maybe, that we're losing this part of the forest. Make us stand next to the hill there. We have some impassable terrain. Fighting against dragoons here, and a smaller unit of a line infantry. Okay, the heavy cavalry will retire. The two reserve units will be moved into place. The grenadiers will hold their place just to be able to shoot down this bodyguard. Get them to flee, which happened right there, and with them fleeing they will now move out on the flank there, and we should be able to take on this militia and push them back, push back the line infantry and so forth. Looking through here, we can see the Prussians retreating through the village in this array, and it seems that we have to refocus our effort towards the forested area over here. The Prussians here have continuously advancing without really taking note of the smaller unit of 82 men punishing this militia unit for not taking proper steps to deal damage here. But once they will open fire, they will do a lot of damage to my men. And before they do that, I'm gonna go ahead and charge them. I'm not entirely sure we will have time to get in there though before the enemy fires. Yes, we just have enough time. So the enemy will not be able to fire, and my men are superior in melee fighting, but they're outnumbered heavily. Oh, the enemy is stuck in here with melee fights as well against my units. And they're slowly rolling, kind of rolling up my flank. I'll take these two units, redraw the line like this, but we're losing more or less all of the forested area here. With that, however, it's time to swing the line around to prepare to face the enemy. The reinforcement army has started to arrive. I'm gonna send the general away though. I'm not gonna need him. This unit, you know what? Let's have a fresh unit, so you will continue to retire. The artillery will have to be replaced. And the cavalry will come into the flank to prepare and try to hold the advance here of Prussian troops moving forwards from the hill. I'm hoping this is all the reinforcements that will arrive. We have something over here. Ah, that's a retreating unit. A single soldier survived out of a unit out of 320. He'll have a story to tell, alright. Good flanking fire down on the 53rd Prussian Line Infantry. And since we re-established the line, it's about pushing forwards now, and we want to take as much of this as possible. And push towards where the enemy actually turning up. Or at least get out of the forest here. It would be nice to take up line in this forest here towards the enemy. We've got dragoon movements. We've got an enemy general charging down one of my line infantries. We need to protect the flank. I'll put the grenadiers out there, and I'll put you sort of more closer to this side. Ah, the mounted Jaegers have arrived. It'll be interesting to use them. Right, time to use the heavy cavalry to lock some of these Prussians and hold them while my line infantry advances. So we'll charge the enemy in the back and hopefully we'll destroy them that way. So we've got these units on the flank. They need to move up because they're currently not even firing. Throw yourselves forward, and having these two gain ground as well. Oh, the grenadiers are getting attacked in the flank there, stopping them from actually firing on the enemy. And with all of this, oh, we got even more cannons turning up, which is kind of unnecessary. Well, I don't need that many cannons. It's gonna be trouble using them as it is through this thick forest. Let's see, how's it going in the forest? Heavy cavalry, keep turning up this flank and hopefully open it up for us. See if the grenadiers can regroup a bit. We've got a lot of Prussian infantry and stuff mobilizing out here. Kind of a lot of militia and stuff. Would be nice if I actually got the had the artillery facing that way, so we're gonna set them up there. But I think the enemy will have been moved away once we're ready to actually open fire. The general is still there, and my men are. Luckily, though, the grenadiers aren't actually fired upon, so I guess that saves them a bit. Right, the enemy was sent off from over here. But we want to continue the struggle. I'm going to turn this one like so. These three regiments, however. Bloody hell, there's more dragoons. Let's see if we can come into a line like so. Some of my heavy cavalry units are breaking. Oh, you know what? I did have my mounted rifles. Should be better than the dragoons. And then we have a unit of hussars. They can come in over here and help. It's a shame it's raining because it makes it hard to see what's actually going on the battlefield. And all plus the fog. Militia was sent off. Now we'll try to send off the dragoons. Grenadiers firing. Got a single guy out of the 88th regiment running straight forwards. Okay, the cannons are actually in position now. And they can kind of help out firing towards the enemy here. The mounted rifles are in position. Or the mounted Jaegers, I should call them. Because they're probably not armed with the rifles. But they're accurate as hell, these guys. And they really went to town on that Dragoon unit. And they've got really good range. It's really pouring down at this point. Got line infantry coming in kind of a staggered way, or it's completely split up by pushing through the forest. So I think my my mounted Jaegers should be able to do quite a bit of damage if they're able to reload here and fire again at these guys. They're not yet in position, all of them, so they're not firing back. I want to see if I can get one sort of full shot off at them before... Oh, we're getting fired upon. We'll move up to the hill. They do have superior range, so from even up here they should still be able to push fire onto the enemy. Oh, the enemy has broken through here. I'm not entirely sure what happened. The hussars will be moved over to help out the grenadiers and so forth. Let's see what target they actually pick. Well, I want you actually to fire on these, and then you can charge. Oh! Okay, I told you to actually fire on these guys. There we go. Now charge the militia. You're not actually firing on anything, so swing up and aid your brothers. It's so hard to even see what's going on here. There's so much fighting all over the place. There's so many units strung out all over the place, and I'm gonna retire you. I mean, it's really hard to tell what's going on with all the range. I've got one unit over here, we've got another one over here, but I'm pretty sure they will just flee if I tell them to retreat. The enemy is actually overrunning us on this side. We've got line infantry being attacked over there. The hussars are trying to break the militia unit that were fighting. The grenadiers are fighting in melee over here, kind of aided by these guys. If we push back, the grenadiers should be able to hold for the retreat, and that should break these guys as they follow, but they're constantly under fire as they follow, and they're broken. With that, these two will retire. I need a more manageable line. Also, the artillery will, at this point, they'll have to hold fire. We've got an extra artillery piece have turned up. We'll put down out there, and I'll try to regroup my infantry somewhere around here. I mean, it's impossible. Look at this. Like, you can't see anything. But also, a lot of my units all over the place are retreating here. But it wasn't really... That isn't really like a major problem, because I kind of knew that was going to happen. Right. Oh, the unit retreated over there. So we have reinforcements coming in. Let's take these two quite rather big units, drag them across here towards the cannons, put the rifles or the Jaegers in the flank. The smaller units here will move through like that, and then the artillery will be told to open fire again, deploy and fire. This one will take up position on the far edge there of the cannons. Okay, if you please could come through here. can put you as reserves until more troops arrive. I've got another hussar unit. You will continue to retreat. Oh, we've got quite a few enemies coming up all the way out here. Jaegers will retire. The hussars will be sat next to them. What do we have up at the front line? Dragoons have charged us. Prussian, oh shit, it's the guards have turned up. They're gonna be difficult to deal with. The cannons though are punishing these guys. I mean, at this range, canister should probably be quite effective, but I imagine it wouldn't be. But it is the new 24 pounder, so it should be a lot more canister being able to be loaded into the cannon. Yeah, not really effective. Okay, get back. I think the Prussian guards are actually able to push through air. The 2 reserve units will be placed behind and they will fire into that mess. Jaegers holding their side. Hussars trying to go into the flank. Got lots of reinforcements. Kind of being able to see what's going on from this sort of side. Right, so time to send in the hussars in the flank of this line infantry. Oh, we've got some units breaking. We can see I've got lots of reinforcement though at this point. 4 units of line infantry that can replace most of the units lost on this side. Oh, the flank here has been lost. Get back on the cannons. The 2 smaller line infantries are holding. Ah, shit. These were lost. The hussars were lost as well. The 10th Grenadier still standing though. And now they're overtaking my cannon position. I've got more cannons though to replace the cannon losses. New cannon position. I think this right here. Right in the open. Oh, the new guys that just turned up. Just come straight into the fray right here. For some reason though, the enemy decides not to continue their charge. And they're punished like hell. Probably should have taken a position like this to start off with. Something in the open and not try to fight the enemy in the forest. So all the cannons here were overrun. I don't really have anything to protect the flank against those troops coming on. But we have more. We have more infantry. We've got 4 units of infantry that I can throw towards this side. This one holding. It's a good fight over there. Dragoons advancing in a single line. It's still kind of effective though, because they're able to actually. Oh yeah, no, not effective at all. Because my men open fire upon them and destroy them. We've got another stupid dragoon unit. A small unit of only 69 men. 69, hehehehe. Holding out here. I've got my line of 100, but I don't want to move them because that's probably when they'll get destroyed. Move the cannons forward a little bit. We'll make room for them later on. reserves across here. And then these two pushing more forwards to take position on the side of the cannons, running all the way towards the forest. These guys will hold fire, and then they'll slowly move over there as these guys run into the position. Deploy the artillery and prepare to open fire upon the enemy. Right. These two slowly getting slaughtered. A heavy fighting against the Prussians. I want to break these though, so we can push through the flank. You know what? I'll have these two run through our lines, and they'll fire at will once they've come to the other side, and hopefully they should break these two. So once my guys pass the line, I'll hold fire. And so now we have two fresh regiments coming in to blast these two Prussians. Heavy casualties on both sides. The enemy was able to return fire over here, but we were able to break this one and send that one off. And with that, I open up the flank for this one, which it's stupidly enough decides to, it's going to cover that flank. And now I kind of have an opening for the artillery to start blasting. I want to focus in on the enemy dragoons. These lines are holding. I'm gonna gain a little bit of ground here towards the enemy. Am I getting any reinforcements? Not really. I guess this... Okay, this is the last I have. How much more will the enemy come with is the question. Okay, so we've beaten these guys, beaten them back. We have Prussians all the way over here in the forest and so forth. Let's try to... Oh, what's this? Where did these guys turn up from? Punishing my guys from the back. Let's draw the line like that and towards the cannons. These two will share this space, and you will actually halt there to protect against the dragoons of Frederick the Great. Looks like I punished that dragoon unit and is retiring. We've got another one though, and we want to deal damage to that one. Quite a bit of dragoons and crap coming in. Form square to protect yourself. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys to fire at will. That's a major issue. Dragoons being pushed back. These guys kind of ish. Go ahead and punish these dragoons. See about possibly gaining ground on them, because in a long fight we're not going to win the firefight if they outrange us. Ooh, this one's about to break. But luckily, that one line infantry that was on this side was sent off. I'm gonna send over the general... Oh crap. We've got lots of units breaking the square. I'm not gonna be able to save the square anyways. Take a position in among the trees, and then you'll draw a really thin line towards the cannons, and I'll put the general back here. Oh, you know what? The square did actually survive. But for how long? If you can retreat towards there as well, that could be nice. But given the fact that the enemy dragoons are able to fire at longer range than us, it's going to be difficult to deal with them. Ooh, some nice cannon shots ripping through these dragoons. Oh, the general is stuck in with the fighting here. Form a square. The generals are tough though. Oh shit, now this one goes. Keep up the fire. Hopefully cannons will be able to do something. Closest cannon will fire on these. Which looks like they're kind of charging. Ah, crap. They broke that unit. The square is holding. The general is fighting on against... bravely fighting on against the enemy. So it's down to the units on this side, which... at this point we only have these two, which are barely standing. The enemy is coming close and it's a single line, so maybe canister is actually better at this point. Yeah, we're not going to be able to win it at this point. Looking at how many enemies are still here. The general is still there. The square just gave way. So I've got one line infantry, the general, and I've got the cannons. Kind of ish. The cannons are giving way, everyone's actually giving way. The general was just killed. And my troops are now retreating. En masse. And the battle was lost. But at least it didn't crash. Or maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. Valiant defeat. So I was at least being able to take a big chunk out of the enemy army. And hopefully we're looking at the statistics, I at least took out maybe 14,000 or something like that of the enemy. Which should be nice. Oh, so it went a lot worse than I actually thought it went. So we deployed 8,000 men against 21,000 enemies. We lost 6,000, leaving 2,000 alive. The enemy only lost 9,000. I was hoping for 14,000. That leaves 12,000 enemies left. And this part of my army is more or less destroyed. As we can see, it lost a lot of men. A lot of units completely destroyed. Highest killer was the Grenadiers, the 10th Grenadiers, which sadly doesn't look like they survived, no. But the 10th Grenadier did a hell of a job. And then line infantry. Cannons, you can see they didn't really perform that well. 132 and so forth. This one only killed 4 people, somehow. Both generals survived though. Well, I sent this guy off, he didn't even take part in the battle. This guy, however, did take part in the battle and he's still there. But yeah. We were forced back on our march. Oh, you know what? He did die, didn't he? But it kind of fell into a single army here. Just need to be augmented a bit to aid there. We do have more troops that can be kind of brought in. The thing is, they dislike the government form more and more. I've said that before, where it's increased to 11. In Stockholm, I think it's even worse. Okay, so we even got war awareness there because of the loss, plus it's minus 14 because of government. So even though I look at the garrison I have, and they're still unhappy there. We can draw on troops from Poland and Königsberg and so forth. We need to continue the fight though. It seems as though we dragged in this part in the battles. I guess we'll continue to march into the direction of this area. I should be able to smash this part. We didn't drag any of these into the battle, so it's all about sort of this part right here that needs to be defeated. They still a lot of it is because I lost. If I'd won, we would have seen a lot more of these units being having disappeared. But We do have 2 more armies that I can send up, probably in the same kind of same general area, and then we'll be able to clear off a lot of this. And I should open up the way to Berlin, and I will be able to bypass this. For the next one though, we'll see if we can... I mean, I can throw forwards, recruit, and I should have prepared actually. I didn't think it was going to go that bad, so I didn't really prepare with any infantry. Can this army move out? Oh yes, it can. Then we'll have this one joining in, and we'll just transfer. We'll transfer kind of half of this down here, just in case the Ottomans decide to declare war on it. You know what? The Ottomans have been pushing more towards this area than they have towards the Polish region. Plus, the Polish region is able to recruit a lot more men. We could even, you know what? We could recruit men from over here, and they could be pushed down to take place of the garrisoned units, so everything can be pushed forward that currently is recruited here. And then this army, which is one of my veteran armies, the 2 armies I lost there, they were newly recruited, so it's not one of my veteran armies like this one. You can see the veterancy and the howitzers. And next time, for next video, I'll be able to attack with the king's army, reinforced by one of the newly recruited ones, so that'll be good. Possibly also what we could do is recruit a ton of infantry in Stockholm and Copenhagen, and because I control the Baltic at this point completely, there's no enemy navy here whatsoever, I can quickly move over reinforcements. Now obviously that would be nice if we actually had the port to bring in troops directly here, but we can bring them in here, which we would be able to push them quite far from this region if we compare to the guys in the town. Reinforcements moved from Stockholm and so forth would be able to get maybe up to the bridge, and they would be able to support a push towards Berlin, or if the army in Berlin managed to go on the offensive again. Got one of my armies up here, but it's just really to protect against the Russians. The Russians haven't been doing that great. We can see that their bankruptcy is up to 9-8-ish. They're still able to hold the regions, which I don't really get. I would like it to be more that you could be able to sort of cause enemy governments to collapse by nefarious means of spies and sort of changing religion and that kind of causing turmoil behind the line, and not always just being about war. They always seem to be able to really match sort of the any sort of problems you throw at them. They seem to be able to match it somehow. And I moved my navy over here because I wanted to, in case the Ottomans declare war on me again, I could stop their trade, go ahead and raid a lot of these ports and stuff like that, and possibly if the Ottomans would send out the navy, I could try to sink that as well. I would hope though that it would be a lot cooler if the Ottomans had a lot of what's it called, galleys, so they would have these massive stacks of galleys coming at me, and I just bombard them from all places. I am currently upgrading my ports, my dry docks, so I will be having 76 gun ships in the future. But as we're looking at the next episode possibly being the last one, because I'm pretty sure they lost, what did they lose? 9,000, so half of the army here holding the front line was taken off. It still leaves about 20,000 enemies, but this time around I will be attacking with a veteran army. A lot more grenadiers. We'll get howitzers that's going to do a lot more damage. Royal Lifeguard regiments and so forth. So probably a big difference in the attack there. With that said, however, as I usually say, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!